Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero. We've got a very special week planned for you. You've heard us talking for the last couple of weeks about Pete participating in the Coronado swim this coming weekend. It's an event to raise awareness and money for the SEAL Veterans Foundation. So this week we're having Special Operators Week on the Break It Down show. It's kind of like Shark Week. It's dangerous, it's masculine, it's aggressive, and it's got rows of teeth. And it's a lot of fun. We're going to highlight some special operations veterans who are doing some very interesting things, like they haven't already done a lot of interesting things, but they've moved forward in their careers to do some great things in very different arenas. Leading off this week is Iron Ed Hiner. He's a retired SEAL and SEAL trainer who's now an author of books on business and leadership. His new book is called Guts. I haven't read it yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion what it's about. If I was a betting man, I might wager that it's about being decisive and leading with integrity and following through. I mean, the guy was a SEAL, and if we know anything about SEALs and special operators in general, it's that they're decisive, and regardless who's watching, they don't stop until their mission's done. His previous book was called First, Fast, Fearless: How to Lead Like a Navy SEAL. The foreword in that book was written by Ken Blanchard, and that's a big deal. Ken Blanchard, for the unfamiliar, is an author with over 60 books published about business and sales and management and leadership. An endorsement from him is like an endorsement from Earl Campbell. Now, I don't watch NFL football anymore, not because of Colin Kaepernick, although I do think he got a raw deal, but mostly because of guys like Earl Campbell. Also guys like Jack Tatum and John Matuzak and Junior Seau, whose lives with CTE after the NFL were terrible, and how the NFL tried to do as little as possible about it. But Ed Hiner has an opinion about guys taking a knee on the field, and so do I. You can check out Ed's opinion at edhiner.com, and you should. Do I agree with it? Maybe. Maybe not. The point is, and as Ed puts it, regardless of our opinions, we have more in common than not. And we should listen to each other, and we should express ourselves, and we should be free to do so. And I support that for sure. And frankly, whatever else Ed's doing, because he's a great guy and he's done a ton for us from the beginning of his career to the present. His movement is called About Face, and it's an approach that was born of his explanation to the situation on the field to his son. Go to edhiner.com, buy a t-shirt, and support his movement if you agree. And if you don't agree, know this. We all want our brothers and sisters to prosper and our kids to lead a life of purpose and fulfillment, and we should all be able to express ourselves, even if you disagree. And if we listen, we might learn something from each other. You sure will learn a ton from Ed Hiner. And if you want to support him, again, go to edhiner.com. If you want to support Pete and the SEAL Veterans Foundation, go to sealveteransfoundation.org and go see Pete at Coronado Island this Saturday. And if you want to support the Break It Down show, just go give us a 5-star rating and write us a little review about how you agree with us or you don't. Hell, shout out your favorite football team and rub it in my face. You get to do that. This is America. And if you don't know the story of Colin Kaepernick and our friend Nate Boyer, who was also a special operator, check out one of the episodes he's done with us in the archives. We love Nate Boyer. We also love you guys for listening. And you're going to love our leadoff hitter for Special Operators Week. Here is Iron Ed Hiner.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
My name is Ed Hiner. I'm a retired Navy SEAL, author of a best-selling book, First, Fast, Fearless: How to Lead Like a Navy SEAL, and I'm here with Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Yeah, this is cool. We're in Old Town, by the way. I love San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Who doesn't?
drinking beers. We had shrimp salad for lunch. And this is one of the things that I love about doing this field work is getting to talk to other guys that know the field life and just the realities of life at its hardest, you know, pushing through adversity. Every SEAL I know has said that I got through BUDS because I was willing to die to do it.
Yep. I'd say that's probably that's a fact. Guys are, and a lot of times, you know, guys just, that's all they'd obsessed with being a SEAL. So that's all they had in them. Other guys that quit, they had other ideas in life that they wanted to do. But it was like, nah, I'm 100% in. This is it.
Yeah.
So that I think that was important, yeah.
I mean, in effect, I rang the bell before I ever even put a 4197 to request it because I had a great job. I'm a counterintelligence agent.
Yeah.
So when I looked at, like, what else could I do? I could fly a helicopter, and I'm like, but that's really not any better than what I'm doing. I mean, I got to go out and hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
I got to go out with Green Berets. I got to do
the big brains. The big brains.
Yeah, and just ask questions and help you guys figure out how to do your stuff and everything. So, yeah, like, you're right. There's no way that I would go through that and be like, I'm just going to go back to my old good gig.
Yeah, right, exactly. So most of us had nothing, that was it. This was one path.
Yeah.
We didn't have multiple paths. We were just testing the water for an interview. No, this was it. We were all in.
Hey, this is Pete. Real quick, I just want to let you guys know we are proud to announce our official support of Save the Brave, a certified nonprofit 501c3 with a charter of helping veterans with post-traumatic stress. Here's how you can help. Go to SaveTheBrave.com, click on the link on the website, and my recommendation is this. Subscribe. Give them $20 a month. You've got subscriptions that you can turn off right now that you're not using that are $20 a month. Swap that out. Get involved. Let's help these folks out.
Testing the water for an interview. No, this was it. We were all in.
I think your show will go up before I do my swim for Coronado.
Oh, right on.
For the Navy SEAL Foundation. You've done this swim.
I've swam in that water for probably 2 decades worth of time.
What am I getting myself into?
Let's see. It'll be cold.
Okay.
Good, which is, it's a good thing. It'll wake you up.
It's a wake-up
It's a good thing. It produces neurotransmitters, which makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be cold.
Yeah. You guys like to use fins when you swim.
We do. There's no reason not to.
Right.
Unless you have to. But
I've been stubborn about this, but I've been working on my fin technique. What is your preferred ocean swimming fin technique? We're not going to do all swimming stuff, but I'm just curious.
Well, if I use fins for the crawl stroke, the freestyle, if people call it, I use a lot of legs. I do find myself engaging heavily in the legs because normal swimming, if you swim, crawl stroke without fins, your legs really are only there to balance you.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of propulsion. Most people think, you got to kick your legs hard, but if you really get to be a good swimmer, it's you're not using your legs much.
Right.
So just strengthen up your hip flexors. Do a lot of flutter kicks.
A lot of flutter kicks. Yeah. Yeah, it's been different because you're right. When you have fins on, I can really swim at a way slower cadence. Like I kind of cruise along.
You can breathe.
Yeah. And I've been messing around with the double dolphin kick.
Yeah.
Like drive my hips on one and then kind of knee kick on the second one. And I'll be damned. It's pretty fast.
It is not bad. And you got to get the right fins, right? You want to get swimming fins, not diving fins.
Right.
So get surface fins.
Yeah.
But it's a really good way when you have fins if you're not a good perfect stroke person.
Mm-hmm.
If your technique's not really really good,
right?
Your fins kind of help you cheat a little bit, so you can get fluid in the water and you can move.
So here's my question, and I'm not trying to ask you about anything specific, but I'm curious. If you were to do 100 missions as a SEAL in a combat environment, how many times would you actually get in the water and do a swim? Would you guys do it just to we have this capability, let's swim in, or do you just go path of least resistance?
It depends what area of operation, what's going on. I mean, obviously Iraq and Afghanistan, not much water.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of water, but
right.
not a lot of water. But some of the other places around the world, if we're doing low visibility stuff, you'd be swimming on the coast because we do a lot of dropping boats out in the middle of the ocean, get in the boats, drive near the coast, swim in, over the beach, and then come back out over the beach.
When you swim in somewhere, you can't be exhausted when you get there. And not that you guys get tired, but you can't use it's easy to use all of your energy in a 5-mile swim and just be like, holy shit.
The water will suck it out of you.
Yeah, You're cold, you're uncomfortable, you're working hard, you have a lot of gear.
Well, people don't understand the water work is probably the hardest work in the military. I think, because you got to have specialized gear.
Right.
It's the water will take your life in a heartbeat. Right. Everything's got to be waterproof. It's got to be zip locked, if you will. It's got to be. You got to keep things dry. You got to keep things from sinking. You got to keep you from sinking. There are operations where we would train where you'd have 100 pounds of equipment swimming in and out of the beach.
Yeah.
And then when you hear that surf zone hammering from about 1,000 meters away, you're like, oh, you can see it in everybody's eyes at night. Like, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah.
It's going to be horrible. Because sometimes we did training operations where we were swimming out of, even at Camp Pendleton up from San Diego. The surf, you could hear it for maybe 1-2 clicks out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're swimming out there. It'd take us sometimes 2 hours to swim past the surf with all that equipment.
Yeah.
But you do it. I mean, you know.
We had a couple of guys on who are World War II guys, and one of them, Ray Lambert, wrote a book recently, and Jim DeFelice was his co-author. He wrote basically wrote Chris Kyle's book. You know, he was like the main author on that. And he was talking with Ray, and so Ray gets off the beach in the first wave, and he's a medic, and is instantly hit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, instantly. And then, like, the first, maybe second guy he saves is a guy that's hung up on barbed wire under the surf. And he's like, why can't this guy go? And then he's like, I'm going to go down. And then he dives down and he frees that guy. But all of these things happened within 100 yards, if less, of the surf and the beach.
Yeah.
You know? You're in this, and it's so, even then, it's totally, they had a Higgins boat came in, dropped the gate right on top of him and another guy. And he's like, I'm going to die. This is
Nobody's
I'm
going to know how it happened.
Yeah. And then he's like, for some reason, the boat lifted the gate and went and did something else. And so he lived, but the water's dangerous.
Water's dangerous.
In case you didn't know.
The stuff that we do, most people might not know this, but we have a specialized team, SEAL delivery vehicles. These guys, all they do basically is underwater stuff.
Right.
We have our own little submarines. We attach to bigger subs and travel around the world. They actually do the most classified missions of anything.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Are they like a branch of the 160th who flies everybody everywhere?
No, these guys they travel around on a USS submarine, a Navy submarine.
Yeah.
We have a shelter on top of that submarine. And this miniature sub goes on it, and they travel around the world, and they never come over the surface.
Ridiculous.
Oh, but you're down there. Some of these guys will travel in these submersibles, which I've done, which truly is one of the hardest things you can do. We call it the little floating coffin. So it's about a 6x6 space in the back. You might get 6 operators in there with all their equipment. Wow. It's logged. It's not watertight.
Yeah.
So you're in there, doors closed. There's no windows, obviously nothing. There's no light, and you just breathe for hours, getting to your target.
Jesus.
Oh, it's yeah.
Yeah.
The guys that do that, they're true frogmen. They're the guys that they have probably the most discipline because water will kill you. Nobody will even know. It's middle of the night. You're like, where did Johnny go? Well, Johnny's at the surface now. He's gone.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And are these guys SEALs that have this mission, or are they specialized support
all
elements?
SEAls.
Okay, all
most of them, most of those guys stick in that branch. If they want to do it, you know, they go over to that special team.
Yeah.
And a lot of them stick there because it's hard to get all the skill sets that you need.
Right.
And it takes a certain kind of mental toughness. I mean, think about it. You're in the water sometimes 10 hours. Submerged, you're wet. And the pilots and the co-pilots sometimes will anchor these SDVs, these SEAL delivery vehicles, off the coast, say 50 feet, 40 feet, or whatever they might do it. And they just sit there and breathe until the SEALs go on the beach and do what they're going to do and come back, get back in the boat, close it. Wow. And they just sit there.
Yeah. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot of sitting there.
Think about water. You're immersed in water.
Dangerous moment. Yeah, for sure. You've written a couple of books. Actually, you've written one, and then there's another one coming out that we may or may not talk about. Let's talk about the first one that is out that you can't talk about.
Well, First Fast and Fearless, I wrote that 2015 it came out. So I've been working a lot of speaking engagements, corporate speaking and whatnot. But it ended up being a bestseller. You know, short period of time, but it hit. And it's kind of from a lot of my experiences. A lot of as you know, most of the stuff you learn is you have a scar somewhere from it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I won't be doing that again. Yeah. So a lot of it was learned by people that learned by me, but also learned by people that I knew. You know, it just kind of breaks down what the brand of a leader is. You know, in a nutshell, that would be kind of a steward leader. A lot of people talk about servant leadership. Yeah. I'm more of a steward leader because I don't see myself as necessarily a servant, more of a steward. You're a protector, guardian. Talk about the brotherhood, what it means, which also means sisterhood, you know. Yeah. Just, we call it the brotherhood. But it talks about, loyalty and just a lot of different values that we have. And then kind of the battle rhythm, how to set up a team in chaos, or VUCA, right? It's a military term. VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Right. Chaos. Yeah. And it's how to set up teams like that and lead with it. And, and it's all based on ethos, character. Okay. Because as you know, I mean, that's that in the military and any high-performing organization, character is it's very important and it's pivotal to success.
Character is built through absolute trials and a lot of failure. You know, I mean, because you have to. Someone the other day on Twitter, not that we're going to bring Twitter into everything, but he's like when you become famous and you get on that rocket ship. I would say that your character can't keep up with that. because you have to learn those lessons as you go along. Some people will carry it with them, but it's not expected that you would.
Well, that's funny you say that because I actually do this exercise with companies.
Okay.
And I do an ethos building workshop.
Okay.
And it's it depends on how much time they have or how much money they have. No, it's a couple days to 3 days. And it breaks down all the values that the company thinks they have, the mission statement, all these kind of different things. And it kind of develops their own ethos statement. And what do they stand for? Because, in complex VUCA, those chaotic situations, there's no rule book. There's no playbook. Nobody's going to tell you how to do it. We've been in a situation where you're like, I've never done this before. I've never trained to this. Yeah, guess what? Now you're the expert. Get after it. So I get this. So a lot of these companies, these guys, when they get into these gals get into these really complex situations where it's just frantic, the market's changing, everything's volatile. If you don't have that moral compass or the guiding ethos, then you kind of can stray off anywhere. Yeah. But if you understand, here's what's going to guide us. It might not be perfect. It might not be the only thing out there, but this is going to guide us, like our Constitution. Right? The Constitution, without the Constitution, we would just, wander off into nothingness.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect, probably. Right. It's not flawless. It was created by humans, but it's a good guiding compass for us.
Sure. Yeah, and if we all agreed, there'd be a problem, right? Like we're a nation that's meant to argue and figure things out, and we have to learn how to tolerate one another. And it's not how to like freedom is how you define it. That's how I define it. It's how she defines it.
Yeah.
But we don't get to have, when people talk about 3 parties, and I'm like, well, then you'd have 2/3 of us that are pissed off all the time.
That's right.
Instead of about 40%,
That's true.
So, and then I suppose I should say someone like President Trump, who causes a lot of problems because he is a VUCA machine, right? He just creates all this chaos. We can look at him and go, had bosses worse than that.
Yeah.
Way more erratic, way more egotistical, way more narcissistic. And then sometimes the best bosses are absolute assholes to everybody, because they just don't give a damn about being nice. They give a damn about the mission.
Well, I have a principle here that I think you'll like this. I broke it all down, and I'm a kind of simple fact, a simple way of looking at leadership that I think is very effective is you go by the MOM principle.
Okay.
Mission, others, me. So when you're in charge, if you make decisions based on that hierarchy, most people are going to acknowledge it, even if you're hard on them. You're like, look, I'm looking for the mission because we all agree on that. That's our job here.
Yeah.
And I'm looking after other people. And then lastly, I look at myself. And it doesn't mean looking after other people, I'm going to let you slide or let you, I'm going to hold you accountable just like I hold my 12-year-old accountable.
Right.
So
you were talking with me before off mic about mission creep and SOP creep. Where the military tends to want to squeeze the mission, especially in training. We're going to do this 17-week block of training in 10, and everybody's like, "Well, how the hell are we going to do that? How the fuck are we going to do that?" Well, we're just going to do it.
We're just going to do it,
and then bad things happen.
Yeah, I watched it over the course of a few years, and we knew the perfect storm was coming.
Right.
Because we have, it's no secret if you watch the news and stuff. A lot of special operations units, to include the SEAL teams, are having some disciplinary issues, some issues that are questionable. But it hasn't happened overnight. That has been a slow creep,
right,
by commanders not saying no. It's by, it seemed that every 2 years there was a new surge, and every couple years there were new commanders, and we call it, it's like a new jockey on a tired horse.
Yeah.
Less people. We were growing new people, but not as fast as the mission was growing. So not enough people to fill these jobs. People are working 20-hour days. This is just all of a sudden here it comes, and then bad, catastrophic stuff happens. We lose some of the standard operating procedures that we used to have. It was ingrained in us.
Yeah,
and just some of the disciplinary things. Disciplinary is it's a must in the military, and we lost some of it. We'll get it back though.
Right. When a commander comes in. They want to make their mark, right?
They want to make a mark.
The outgoing commander gets to make a long speech. The incoming commander's like, all standing orders stand.
Yeah.
We're going to get to work tomorrow. And then they get to work, and they start trying to do it. And you're right. They often put the whip to that tired horse.
That horse has been beaten. That horse is in a marathon there on a sprint. They're like, hey, man, we've been sprinting.
I know what we haven't done enough of. We haven't worked hard enough.
Yeah. That's it.
And that could be true, but
it happens.
But just pushing the accelerator, it doesn't. That breaks people. That makes SEALs get out at 13 years. Who gets out of 13 years?
Well, financially, it's crazy unless you die.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if you die in a job, it's not crazy. But, yeah, it's not financially smart. But I've watched some really good officers. One of them, Sean Pybus, was one of our admirals. And that guy was humble, smart. I mean, just a genius kind of guy. But I remember it was right after all, like 2008 and all that, kind of, we had multiple wars. We had three named conflicts going on, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Philippines.
Right.
So we had 3 OIA, whatever. He came in and changed the whole kind of philosophy of what was going to happen. He's like, here's my 4 priorities. Everything else,
yeah.
He goes, what you're going to focus on.
Yes.
Throttle back down, get the real things done first, quit looking at all the shiny objects, flying around, people throwing you off task. Get these priorities. And I mean, one of the exercises I challenge everyone to do is everybody says find your why.
Yeah.
But I say find your why in the morning, but figure out your what at night.
Yeah, okay.
So the last thing I do, and I think it was Colin Powell that I read his book years ago that I learned this. It's like at the end of the day of the workday, I would write down 5 things you have to do tomorrow. So I'd jot those down.
Yeah.
You get into work. You get 400 emails flying at you, people yelling at you. You're like, okay, I got these 5 things. I got to do these. And, that was a good philosophy. Prioritize and get what you have to get done first. It's like, what's the Pareto's principle, 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
You spend 20% of your time, or 80%, you should spend 80% of your time, or 20% of your time, it gets 80% of the results.
There are so many facets to doing things well, though. I mean, like, if I have 5 things, if I don't account for my well-being, I mean, okay, yeah, I worked out, but, if I'm racing towards an emotional cliff because I've spent 5, it's like, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff, except for, like, there are things that really have to get done.
They have to get done, right.
And if the work is always my top 5, then I never take care of me. I never take care of my loved one. I mean, come on, look, who leads the league in divorces besides operators, I mean.
I think the SEAL teams, if I remember correctly from the family wellness brief that we got once,
right,
it was 98%. If a career SEAL would have a 98% chance of getting divorced, which everyone is that I know.
Yeah.
That's a career that has been a divorce at least once.
Right, because wives are never in the top 5.
Well, when you looked at it, when you're gone 9 months out of the year, consistently over and over and over, then obviously they have other things to do. It's like they're going apart. Yeah, that's a hard job.
So as a leader, do you say, hey, listen, you have 4 things you're going to do today, and the other 5 is take care of mama or take care of something that's part of your personal life?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, good leaders do that. You realize it because it is, it's not just a marathon; it's an ultra marathon.
Yeah,
and it's going and going and going. You can't just keep beating that horse because the horse will just die, right?
Yeah.
Or get out.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to prioritize that. And good leaders will tell their people, even though they're getting pressures from above, they're like, "Hey, take some time off, do your thing." I have my next book coming out. It's called Guts.
Guts.
Yeah, it's about greatness under times of stress.
Okay,
and it's. How to deal with fear, manufacture motivation. And it's one of the things I've kind of identified. And we identified it as a community 9 years ago.
Okay.
The doctors were seeing constant patterns in SEALs that had been downrange. I remember when I came off my 9th deployment, we did all these blood tests, and they started realizing our blood, our hormonal level, cortisol level, vitamin levels we look like, on paper, even though we were fit, we were working out hard, we look on paper, we're like 75-year-old dudes.
Yeah.
So we started kind of, so I started adopting some of these principles, and I'm writing about them now. It's simple, but you got to do them, right?
Yeah.
And I call it the combat chassis.
Okay.
And it's a good foundation. It's, your diet, your exercise.
Yeah.
Your mindfulness.
Yeah.
And sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep. Most people, even in the executive world, they think sleep's for weakness, right? If you sleep more than 6 hours a night, you're just weak. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Sleep, everything
Not
else
true.
trickulates from it.
Not true. Yeah.
That's right. You're going to have side effects, right? We all know we go down range, you don't sleep for 6 months, you're exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
You do sometimes stupid things that you're like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Because you're exhausted. And, it's a very, very valuable thing. You got to be very disciplined about your sleep. And, I've been doing this, testing all these things on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very,
I I had a walking pre-apology thing I would do. I would say, you're likely to say something to me. I'm likely to respond poorly. It's not my common response. I'll go, I'll calm down, I'll take a nap, come back, and we'll get back to business.
The immediate action drill.
Yeah, I already apologized in advance because I knew it would happen because you're pushing hard. And I also learned that I had to take a nap each day because I needed time to process things.
Yeah.
I needed to shut down because I would not shut down. I've been 20 hours a day, no problem. Let's go indefinitely. Yeah. And then my quality of my higher performance was gone. You know, I still performed at 85%, and it's great all day long, the whole tour, but that's not what the command needs. They need that other higher level.
You do. If you look at it, because I've been just kind of doing my own research. I call myself in the next book, by the way, the blue-collar scholar.
Okay, I like it.
I don't have a PhD of anything, but I study a lot of different things, like most guys in the military. We're interested in improving our game,
right?
And I kind of studied all these things, and you can see the effects of diet, of sleeping. Just the fact that when you sleep, just watching your human growth hormone increase.
Yeah,
and if you don't sleep, watching it decrease. So those kind of things, and that creates a mood in your mind, and which creates an action down the road. So,
yeah, for sure, I definitely had to learn to recalibrate my initial response to things when I came back because I wasn't switched on all the time. My cortisol pathways were enormous. And my body's like, I know what the answer is, cortisol. And I'd be like, how about I fuck you up? How about I tear your head off? How about
the difference, the separation from violence and being civil is like that small. If you got the listeners can't see this, but it's like a millimeter between it goes down to nothing. You're ready just to get up someone's ass in a heartbeat.
I wasn't having that bad of a day, and I met some adversity in a 7-Eleven with money, and I needed money, and a guy was mocking me, and I'm like, okay, I have to decide right now if I want. And I was able to control enough to go, do I want to go to jail, and do I want to break this guy's jaw? Because there was no doubt all of that was going to happen. But I'm like, okay, I don't want to break this guy's jaw. I'm just mad. It's not his fault. He can be a dick all he wants, but he came within
he didn't even know
hair. And he had no idea. I was gonna separate the top part of his jaw from the bottom part, no problem.
Yeah, that is an issue, I think. But what I've been working on personally, I'm writing about it now for a few years. I found it myself the same way, and I even took it a step further a couple of times. But I'm like, okay, how just because if you're in the military and if you're a fighting person. Controlling your emotions is controlling your actions is critical when you're emotional, but controlling your emotions itself, actually, that's mastery. Mm-hmm. So how do you control yourself from getting into that emotion where I'm going to smash your face in? Yeah. So I've been working on that for a few years now, and I'm writing about a lot of it because I'm like, wow, there are ways you can actually do that.
So someone like Jocko gets up at 4:30 every morning. I mean, I often get up at 5 in the morning. Whatever. 4:30,
I get up at 4:30. Whatever. But that's my natural rhythm.
Yeah, exactly right. Like you have to find your spot. I tend to be more of a swing shift guy, but I start early and then work until about 10. But me getting up earlier won't make me more productive. I've got to work with the time that I've got, and then so many different segments that I run my own business.
Yeah.
So I've got to try to figure out how to take care of my business, so I take care of my money. But I also got to take care of my relationship. I've also got to, now that I don't want to, I have the urge to kill myself every day. I don't. I'm not in danger or anything. But I want to every day. Like I feel that, and I've got to manage that part of my brain because I know that my peers that weren't that far ahead of me on the whole. So I've got to manage that part of me. And there's all these things that I've got to manage. And it gets to be overwhelming, and I tend to do the things that I know I can do right now. And kind of let go of some of the things like taking care of my body as much as I do. I mean, I've been swimming and I'm getting into better shape again, but, it's easy to let that go.
It is because, you don't prioritize it. But, I hopefully we can get what I'm helping people do, and the next thing I'm writing about is, and I've been experimenting with these things. A lot of people's helping them redefine, have a new relationship with parts of their life. Just like a relationship with your spouse, after many years, it can slip away. How do you start another relationship? How do you start a relationship with food? How do you start a relationship with diet or fitness? And we all went through that. It's like, you gotta realize they're all connected. They're all connected. If if you're not sleeping, your hormone level's crazy, your mood swings, your actions, right? Because your mood, your feelings drive your emotions drive your motion.
Yeah.
So you control either end of that. It's kind of a cause and effect relationship.
Yeah.
Our doctor that was doing this study on us, Dr. Parsley, you guys can look him up. He's actually now retired and went out to the civilian world selling products to the world on how to sleep.
Right.
But we all were like his little guinea pigs. He's like, you got to get these pieces of your life together. It doesn't sound like you do. You can just suck it up, get up at 4:30, try harder, and dig deeper. Okay, that's great for 6 or 8% of the population, but the other 92% after it doesn't work, and then after you've done that for long enough, you're going to shut down.
I had Rob Owens on the show the other day. That show will come out sometime probably before this one does, but Rob is a PJ, but from like at least a full, if not 2 generations before us. He's 67 years old now.
All right.
So, but everybody loves PJs. Like no one in any. This is the funny thing about PJs. Recon has a chip on their shoulder because they don't get the respect and love. PJs automatically, because, look, if you're, I don't know, pick an impossible situation. If you fell into a crevasse and you're bleeding out, and a PJ is coming, you're gonna make it.
Yeah, right.
Like everybody, and those
Everybody
guys
loves the
have
medics, right?
the impossible job, and they're ready for anything. We were talking about like how you have to be able to take 100 pounds, twist your body, and then extend, and then pull it back and not get hurt, like in their world, and it's just incredible.
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here, and if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
And then pull it back and not get hurt, like in their world, and it's just incredible. So, but at 66, he went through Mark Devine's Bud's prep school.
SEAL fit.
Yeah, and passed it.
Did he really?
At 66. Yeah, and he blew his back out during it. And the thing was cool. He was talking about how, like, these are SEAL instructors that do SEAL fit. And they're like, okay, it's great. You did a great job. You're like 2/3 of the way through. It's a win for everybody. We didn't think you'd get this far. You were awesome. And they're just pushing on his quit button, But they're also like, it really is okay to quit. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, you're paying money for it, so yeah, you can quit.
And he's like, no, I think I'll continue. I'll get up now, and he got up from, an injury that would have stopped basically anybody. And then, the SEAL instructor's like, all right, well then go ahead and start doing some dive rolls, 16 of them. Go ahead and go. See you later. And he did. And he's like, how'd you like that? And he's like, I loved it. And he's like, I didn't love it. I think we'll do it again. So he was able to push through, and that's that try harder thing. But if you've gone further down the slope than, say, Rob has, Rob's never been out of shape in his life, right? So if you are down there and you're sedentary, your job requires you to sit there, and your boss and your job suck the life out of you, those are the people that I want to help.
That's it. That's who I'm looking to help.
Yeah.
I'm reaching for them.
So it's not try harder. What does that person do who literally has no more time, no more energy?
Yeah. We were just talking about the micro fitness. Even in those jobs where it's like, okay, you get 16, 18, 20 hours a day, whatever days, you're in there planning, you're briefing, you're doing stuff, you're just grinding away in some vault. We would have a little challenge, and we would have it with the SEALs that I was working with. We would just, every hour or whatever it was going to be, boom, outside the vault, pull-ups, dips, push-ups, as much as you could do. Mm-hmm. Maybe even have a jump rope out there. I love jumping rope. Jumping rope is just a really good thing just to get your fluids, cranked up. And you get your neurotransmitters kicking. You get your endorphins kicking. So we do that in a day. You got 300 pull-ups, 600 push-ups or whatever. You're just like, wow. It's not as good as a sustained workout, obviously, but it's better than nothing. Yeah. Right? And you constantly look at your body as something. It's a piece of equipment. You got to maintain it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it affects everything else. It's the vessel that carries your brain around.
So when your kid's going to go do swim lessons or swim team stuff, get in the pool and go swim, because they have a lane for swim laps. And if they don't, bring a rope and skip rope or whatever. Work on your manuscript for your book. Just try to stack time together, I suppose. Is that the answer?
I use that time wisely. Like in the mornings, I do this drill. I challenge everybody that listens to this, and I challenge all my family, my friends, everybody to do it because, part of that combat chassis is mindfulness, right? The mind, controlling that mind and mindfulness. And I figure if Buddhists have been doing it for about 5,000 years or whatever they've been doing it, right, these monks, is that it's got to be something to it. It's stood the test of time. So I started meditating, and I got this biofeedback thing that goes around in my head. This Muse, M-U-S-E company gave it to me to try it out. I told them what I was doing. And it's amazing because in the middle of the night, if I wake up too early, like, normally I get up 4:30-ish, I'm usually up working. But if I get up at like 2 or 3 and I'm like, wow, I'm in between, I'll just sit there and meditate. Like, that's my time. I'm not going to sleep anyway. I will meditate and really, really try to get it. And it's pretty neat. But I think if you practice that, like gratitude, as soon as I wake up, I had a challenge to myself. As soon as I wake up, thank God I'm alive, right? Boom. Like we all do that.
Yes.
Like, whoa, I'm alive today, brother.
I cannot believe it.
Holy shit, right? But no, you just practice that because that ultimately develops a state of mind.
Yeah.
And the state of mind is important. You wake up and you go all day. You're like, man, I got a good attitude. A state of mind, I'm grateful today. I know it sounds cheesy, and we thought it was, kind of cheesy when we were probably younger, but it does work. It's very effective.
Yeah.
And I do that, and I just hack that time a little bit. Use it wisely.
It's easy to take on a giant list of to-dos and not get through it and be like, oh, I failed. But it absolutely didn't fail. You got always – and some days for me, like today is the day where this is just going to be one of those hard days. I keep dropping my keys. I spill coffee on my shirt. All those little things that ain't shit. But, like, they stack up some days. And you're like, this is just – I lower the bar instantly. And I'm like, hey, you know what today is? Today's one of them days when all I got to do is get through it. I'm good.
Right. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
Pick them up and put them down.
Pick them up, put them down, and whatever it is, I'm going to go to work. I can be the worst employee today. No one's going to care.
That's right.
It's my shitty day today. Hey, I'm having a bad day, everybody. That's going to be shitty. I'm probably going to
what it is.
Yeah. And then you get through, and then you come back the next day, and you re-up, and you go at it again, and that shitty day doesn't have to be so hard. It's incredible. Like
it doesn't define you. It doesn't define you.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You're like, hey.
Because what defines you is the next day and the next day and the next day. And, out of 100 days, if you have 25 shitty days, you got 75 days that aren't shitty.
Yeah, that's right.
And let's be honest, you don't have 25 shitty days.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
Yeah. That self-affirmation, that keeps coming up. Rob talked about it. I had a guy who's a Canadian sniper. He's a special forces guy. Like he says they're like the Delta Force. Let's be honest. Come on. No, I'm messing around.
Let's just bust on some Canadians.
Jeff DePazzi is super tough, super badass, and I don't want to disparage what he's done. He's fantastic. But same thing, though, right? Like that self-talk where you get to a moment, saying out loud so your brain can hear you.
So your ear can hear. Yeah, that's right.
It makes a difference.
It does, and language matters. The next book in the guts, and I'm going to talk extensively about that, scientifically behind it, in a blue-collar sense, right? Uh-huh. It's not going to be exact science, but it's going to be close enough that you get the picture. Yeah. But it's going to talk about what actually happens, the triggers in your brain when you do those things, and you just do it manually. It's like turning a wrench. I do this ends up. Because a lot of people won't do that stuff. They're like, oh, this is cheesy.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
Because your belief system stops you from doing it. It's like, I'm going to ask people as they try this stuff that I'm going to show them, it's just turning a wrench.
I'm ready. Yes.
Turn a wrench and watch what happens. Right. Give it time. Keep turning. And voila. On the other end of it, you have something that you didn't think was going to happen to you.
So Rob Owens was talking about the voices in your head when you go through buds. Then normally they're pretty quiet, and they defeat you easily like this, where they're like, that's dumb. Like when you push out past that 20% and you're really digging deep into where you really can perform, those voices scream at you because they're mad that you're not doing what they're telling you, but you're also in the zone where you're actually doing things that are impossible to those voices.
And those voices are critical to what I call anchor your belief system, okay?
Right.
Because you go into bud stay, for instance, you're going to do 20 times more than you ever thought you're going to do. Right. It's almost, when you look at it, it's daunting. So the good instructors, and I have this one instructor, and he's going to listen to the show because he read my book and contacted me, and he's a hard-ass dude. Chief Jaco is his name. He's about 10 years older than I am. I think he's about, 9 years. He's 60, I think. He just won Mr. Tahoe Masters bodybuilding.
Nice.
Not because he's a bodybuilder, but because he wanted to show discipline and get him down. And he won the whole competition.
I'd like to get fifth place at Mr. Incline Village. Just around the corner. Fifth place is all I want.
Well, I remember one time, and I can induce cold chills on myself. Because one time, going through buds at the end of the first phase, I'm already getting them.
Yeah,
that's see them on my legs.
Yeah. I saw your skin
jump. Jaco, he did the right thing. He was mean as shit. He was about 225, 30 pounds of not but muscle, wraparound sunglasses, shaved head, just fucking mean.
Yeah.
And he cussed. That's all he did is cuss. And then I remember one time, he did a lot of things, but I remember this one time too, right? He was like, beat us senseless, and we were at the obstacle course, and he goes, you motherfuckers, you're not the smartest class ever, but you are some hard motherfuckers.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, yeah. So even though we were exhausted, beat, senseless, all of a sudden he just cranked that anchor down to knowing, now we associate ourselves with being hard.
Right.
And that become, look, boom.
Yeah,
That became a source of like
the wrench.
Acceptance of what that job's going to be. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And he helped us change that relationship with the adversity. And I've captured that. You wait till the readers read this one. Next one. It's crazy and it's kooky crazy. But when they get it, they're like, oh, okay, I get it now.
When did you use that? Like, whatever. You don't got to tell me anything classified, of course, but you're out there working, and you know this. You know you have this wrench. You already knew you would, like, feel it. When did you use that in real life?
I used it going in the front door after we breached the door. I had certain trigger words, because certain trigger words.
As he skin goes crazy again.
There's certain trigger words that I've adapted and trained myself to have. Is I would use those before I'd go in.
Yeah.
And I, usually when I speak, I tell this really cool story that one time, kind of had an epiphany, just like we all have somewhere downrange where you're just like, wow. And that word just naturally flowed out of me.
Yeah.
And I teach people kind of how to do that. I was even studying like cognitive behavioral therapy. I got a certificate in it and all that nonsense. And I'm like, they're missing the boat on a little bit.
Okay.
Because special forces and in military, I think in general, have a certain way of training people that, well, quite honestly, we don't even know how we do it. And it's some things we don't even know we do a lot of the stuff we do. So I looked at every piece of stuff that we did. I'm like, break those pieces down and see exactly what it meant and why we did it.
Right.
And why it worked.
Okay.
Without having to carry a 200-pound log with 6 people on the soft sand.
Right.
So.
Oh, now 5 people.
Yeah, man. Now 4.
I have similar things to do, but it seems like a lot of what I do, because I have to build trust with people that you guys want to kill. So there's this give and take that we have to try to find. That it's a rope. I'm balancing on the rope, and I've got to not put my ego into my questions. I can't. When I see something culturally that's repulsive, I have to right?
We see that, but it's very repulsive to our value system.
Right, exactly. So I've got to, I don't want to say mask, because I don't believe in the mask part, because those guys are not going to extend trust to somebody who's masking something. I've got to try to find a way to do it. And so I would that's my ego. I can get that out of the way. Let me put that back in the cage, because this is an ego time. This is their time, and I've got to tease them out so that they can give me something to work with. It's not a physical response, but it's a mental thing where I'm like, stop, because I want to go in, I want to dominate. I'm a military guy. Right. I'm an alpha. I want to go in and handle these things. It's very, very hard to do, to push your ego back into that thing when your commander's like, our job was to impose our will upon the enemy. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but not right now.
But we got to be crafty.
Right.
You got to be crafty. It's not about
it's Aikido. It's judo.
That's exactly right. It's not the sledgehammer. That's good over there. Let those guys. And that's why they pick you guys. That's why they pick the intelligence guys, combat intelligence guys. You got brains that you're like, okay, we're going asymmetrical here. We're not going through the front door. And a lot of the, like the self-help and a lot of these guys that they hear from special forces, unfortunately, are the front door guys.
Yeah.
I got a sledgehammer. Where is my nail? But it's like, no, when you're doing asymmetrical, unconventional kind of warfare, you got to bring that toolbox, and that's one of them, right? You got to. How do I build trust from a guy that I'm just despise? He disgusts me.
Yeah,
you're sitting across from a tribal leader. He's killed Americans.
Yeah,
he's done a lot of things. He's like, okay, but I'm looking for the mission first. Mission's way above my
mom.
I'm way down here.
Right.
I'm on the bottom end. So you got a mission, others me. So, that probably took some discipline for you. I dealt with them some.
You know what it took? A lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Hey, you got a lot of scars, man. I mean, you got a lot of experience.
You got to get stuff wrong.
Like, well, that didn't work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it still didn't work. No, it's still not working. And then finally you're like, maybe that just doesn't work. And then one more lesson. Nope, that definitely doesn't work. And then you prune that branch off your stupidity tree.
But you know what? The thing about it is, and people don't understand, listeners maybe get this. I hope you can get this. Because this is what really dawned on me. I think military is looking, especially in the special ops and all this kind of community and the stuff we're doing, is for problem solvers. Yeah. Because there is no rule book, regulations, guidance that can tell you how to go out there and be a mafia boss almost.
Right.
Right? You got to figure things out, and you got to push past the fear of not knowing. If you're a person that has to be told and have clear, everything's got to be black and white, it's not a job for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember just meeting with like tribal leaders and people. I'm like, I never trained to this. I don't even know what I'm doing.
I love it.
But I got a big box of money.
Here's my question I love to ask all of us guys. Did you shoot more rounds or have more conversations in combat?
Well, we shot more rounds.
Did you really? You're the first guy to ever say that.
Well, we did. We did because it was, did a lot of this stuff early on after 9/11.
Okay.
With the task force and other things. There was not a lot of talking going on.
Right. Okay.
But no, there was, I mean, at the end, I think when I was in the, in 05 and 06 in Ramadi,
Okay.
I was a ground force commander before the other guys from, that came in. And that was when we, as a SEAL team, first kind of really woke up. I mean, we were like, direct action.
Yeah.
Screw the conventional people.
Right.
We're just going to get out here and whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
So I was started up, and I got with the Army, conventional Army. We had never paired up with them before. And I got with this guy, Colonel McLaughlin, never forget. And it's like, hey, man, what's this tribal stuff? And he was a one-man tribal engagement team at the time. And so I got with him, and we did our first tribal engagement. We saw the power. Like, holy shit, these tribal leaders can make anything happen. Yeah, they're going to take money and scam money. Who
Sure,
cares?
yeah. They're businessmen.
They're just out to hustle. And once you get past your own values, like, here's a box of money, good luck, you be powerful. And the colonel actually got killed, which unfortunately he was out there recruiting Iraqi soldiers. He got killed on January 5th, so 2006.
Yeah, it's a hard fight. We were southern Baghdad province, right above the river, and so below the river was a different province.
Yeah.
And your peers, who knows, SEALs, SF, whoever, would bring the Iraqi Special Force guys across the river and snatch people up. And so, and this took a long time to see this picture, because I'm out there every day talking. I may not be in that area. So here's what we found out was the dads, who either were or weren't bad, and there was no telling, because this was Sunni versus Shia, internal family stuff. It was the whole social fabric was destroyed.
Yeah.
So understanding that took a long time, because it's easy to like, I know, but you don't know shit. So it took a long time. And we're talking to a low-level police chief, like a lieutenant, like a 20-something-year-old kid who's trying to run the Iraqi police. This is an Iraqi guy. And he's like, look, I have a lot of problems. As things I can't do. When people come to me, they bring me problems that I don't need. All right. Well, this is the commander wants to know this. What's happening? He's like, well, the dads are all sleeping in ditches because they're terrified if they sleep in their house, they'll get snatched up at night. And that's causing extreme stress for everybody. Yeah. These aren't bad people. There are bad people among them, but these even good people are like, well, that's not good. And so the commander's like, that's not good. How do we stop that? And so we're talking to this guy some more. And this is several conversations. And he's like, well, one of the things is you guys are trying to teach us about rule of law and the court system, but you're snatching guys up and they disappear. And the mom's like, what the fuck happened to Ray?
Yeah.
Where's Ray? And so he comes, knocks on the door. Hey, you guys came and took my husband. And he's like, well, don't you have a warrant? Is there something? And she's like, no, Ray's just gone. And so we wrote this report up. Here's the result. The next day, after the report goes up, it clearly went somewhere, because the next night there's a dagger jammed into the table with the warrant underneath it. And it's like this sort of like a subtle fuck you, like, here's your due process. But the fact is that due process matters if we're going to
preach it.
Yeah,
we're going to preach it.
It's so hard because you guys need to do your job. We need to take bad guys off the battlefield. And granted, we get that stuff wrong, but we really do need to take bad guys off the battlefield. But there has to be due process.
It's got to be a systematic process.
Right.
Because what we were doing early on from 01 to 05 really is that whack-a-mole. We'd come in, fly into another province, boom, 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 blow the whole place up, take a shake, snatch him up, take him back, and now the conventional forces are sitting in their battle space. They just tore the whole fabric up.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, shit, you just took our shake. Yeah, he's bad, but he's not as bad as this guy.
We were working with
him. So it's like, so I understood that when I talked to Battle Space Commander when I was out there, and I'm like, I'll work basically hand-in-hand with you and for you. You tell me what you want in the battle space, and I'll help you do that. A lot of targets we didn't hit because they're like, hey, dude, you're gonna disrupt this. I'm like, okay, fine enough.
But that is the complexity of these modern fights. You know, and again, it's not that you guys are doing the wrong thing, that the regular military person guys doing the wrong thing, or that I'm doing the right thing. I mean, there's this. It's not even a gray zone. It's just a gray bubble, and you're like, I hope that this works. Pop, and you pop it.
See what happens. Pull that string. Well, that didn't work. Yeah, it is complex. I hope the listeners can get a sense for that. These wars, and they're like, wow, what's going on with this? And they're very complex and hard.
Yeah,
they're just there's no one single person that can tell you how to do it.
Let's go back and talk to those moms and dads that are struggling to get off the couch, and they're trying to find that common denominator. How much TV do you watch?
I watch probably about an hour at bedtime, near bedtime now.
News
No, by the way, that's just one of the lessons because I'm experimenting.
Yeah.
I don't watch anything negative because if you watch the national news, right, pick your poison, CNN, Fox, blah, 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 whatever, is that it fills your mind, your subconscious, your reticular activating system is what it's called, with that, it develops that state of mind.
Okay.
It makes you angry.
Right.
I'm like, I'm tired of being angry, so I want to do it. So the only thing I watch is this will probably be funny to some
Care
people.
Bears?
No, I actually watch the Bachelorette. And the Bachelorette.
I love it. I love it.
Used to watch Dance with the Stars, but it went off for like a year.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my goals. I told my Hollywood guys that I'm working with the production company with. It's like, one of my goals, I'm going to get on Dance with the Stars.
All right.
Because
they haven't had a seal.
They haven't had a seal. I can't dance. I'm a white guy.
Yeah.
Can't dance. And that's one of my biggest fears is humiliating
myself.
myself.
But no one's going to outwork you.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You're not like, I'm in shape. It's not the gym for you. You're already in shape.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's one of those things. I call it, in the next book, I'm going to call it the fuck it list.
Okay.
Write down things that you're scared to do.
Yeah.
That you want to do.
Yeah.
I'd been doing stuff like improv.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I get up in front of people and act like a fool. It's hard, but I'm pretty much over it now. It's good.
Yeah.
So I do different things like
Something
that.
conquered. Yeah.
Something like, what scared me? How did I deal with that fear? And then,
I do the same thing here on the show. If someone's like, this is a really challenging topic, and I'm like, well, it tears the shit out of me to go public with this stuff, so it sounds like a conversation I need to have.
Yeah, because you're going to take public scrutiny.
Yeah. And
People are
open
gonna come
myself
after you.
up and probably get something wrong about my position on something, It's like, I just got educated. We had Monsanto come on as a guest. Easy to hate those guys. Unless you're talking to them, then you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Because he said this one critical thing. He's like, we exist because farmers bring problems to us. Well, what am I going to do about that?
Yeah. It's complicated. Things are complicated.
And by the way, all the GMO stuff, that happens after all the traditional things. By the way, we hire all of the most brilliant minds in agriculture. We want to solve these things at the lowest level. Sometimes they aren't solvable, and the world would not have this thing anymore, so we won't have that. And you're like, well, God damn it, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And it forces you
to
sit in an uncomfortable position and
just
learn.
Changing the channel is what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
If you're a Fox watcher, go watch CNN or MSNBC. And you get past your belief because it triggers your belief. You get angry, blah, blah, blah. And that's one of those exercises I do with myself. I'm like,
I believe it's
beliefs.
gone, but I watch Project Runway because I don't care for the cattiness, but I care about the creativity. You're like, wow, you can in an hour build this incredible thing, and it just blew me away, and I loved it. I love watching that artistic expression. But the thing I love even more than that is it's got a couple different names, but the Great British Baking Show. And they'll take you.
I used to watch Anthony Bourdain. Obviously, he's gone.
This is better than that.
Yeah.
Because it's like Ed Hiner from San Diego comes in, and you're like, today you're doing a souffle. You're like, I've never baked a souffle in my life. Like your specialties, pies and cakes or something.
That's a cool show.
It's fantastic, and it's regular people, and they're not like, I'm gonna stab Ed in the back. Like, oh my God, look at Ed, he's struggling. I feel so bad for him. And it makes me weepy.
Well, that's cool. That's a cool show.
Emotional moments that aren't about anger.
That's good to have emotions. You're not the stoic thing is in the past. A lot of it.
Yeah. Well, I think the stoicism thing is cool, but you have to have some emotion. Like it's not.
That's what life is.
Yeah.
Everything's about emotion.
So that book is called Guts.
It's going to be called Guts. Yeah.
Okay. And then when does that come out? You think?
May. That's when my guessing. Spring, maybe March, April, May. Because right now I'm finishing up and editing process. And
how do folks get more Ed? Where do they go?
You can obviously online. I mean, there's a lot of places at Hiner.com. You can social media sites all over the place. Pick up my book though. You can get the book, First Fast Fearless.
Right?
Yeah, why not? You don't have to read it. Just buy
Amazon?
it. You can get Amazon, Audible.
Okay. Yeah. What else do you do? I mean, you don't just write books. What else are you doing?
Well, one of the coolest things I've ever done. Okay, and you'll hear about it in the book. I don't want to give all this.
Be a
stuff
Navy
up.
SEAL.
Okay, besides that.
Okay.
Besides a stripper and a no, I'm kidding. No, a couple things, and you'll probably relate to this. Is that I said to myself, I made 2 promises to myself, amongst things. But I said in combat, I was going to do 2 things when I got back. One, support veterans.
Love
because,
it.
when you look across the, what the guys are doing, you're like, damn, they're risking their life. It's unbelievable. Sometimes you see it with reverence.
Yeah.
Which I've done. I've been working, obviously I supported Eddie Gallagher openly. I met him in the brig, and I went to see him every weekend. But also, the other thing is kids. You see, I can stomach pretty much anything. Mm-hmm. I think we both can. You see people get, hey, they deserved it. They got their head blown off.
Yeah.
Fuck them. But the kid thing was tough for me. And I was like, because I think it's a moral injury to people like us that even though you see it happening, you didn't, nothing was intentional. The harm of it. So I promised to help kids, and I did. Me and a business partner of mine spent about 6 or 7 months. We got approval from the District of San Diego superintendent, our executive director of juvenile foster kids, like juvenile home, foster kids, all the kids in the system. And we went and developed a summer camp in this past July, and did a 7-day summer camp for San Pasqual High School, where all the kids live on campus. So they're all foster. Yeah. Yeah, it took us a long time to develop it and get up in front of them and do it. But it's cool. It is very powerful. The kids wrote us letters, how we changed their lives.
I love it.
How they're like dying for us to come back. So now we're working on developing everyday curriculum for them. It's a mental toughness program. It's cool.
I dig it, man. Guys like us, we do seem to have these charters. Like, I try to do charity as often as I possibly can. I don't make a lot of money, but I have time, and so I try to put my time into it. Even for I really don't want to do this, but I've had so much help along the way. I should be dead. Yeah. I'm looking at a guy that should be dead. Yeah. We should not be here, but I've had a lot of help. I've had a lot of support. I've had a lot of good breaks. So I try to pass that on. I go to my high school every year, and I talk to at least once, maybe sometimes twice. I talk to the high school kids there to try to give them, like I'm them from the future. Yeah. What do you want to know? By the way, life is hard. Don't be in such a hurry to have an hour-long commute in 2 directions, and become an adult and have a mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't race, brother.
Figure out, I like to say, figure out where the A's are. And this is in general in life. Like, maybe you work to pay the bills, but that doesn't define who you are. Go out and skin dive for abalone if that's what you're into. And if you're not into it, find out by trying it, or whatever that thing is. Life is about doing, not about watching, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely, man. And passionate. I try to talk to people about leadership about that. Is passionate because a lot of people they get in those jobs where they're stuck, especially if they're making a lot of money. Yeah, it's almost like heroin. You can't give it up. You got too much money. You're hooked on it. Yeah. So is to reshift instead of sitting there dreaming about. I'm 40 years old. I'm dreaming about. I'm 65. I can retire and I can go fishing every day because most people don't do that when they retire. They're like, I'm exhausted. But is to kind of. Learn to love what you're doing, and that's why I think teaching leadership to people is like, well, if you focus on leadership, focus on people, others focused, just like me in the back of that helicopter with a mom, then you can be passionate about that instead of going, tapping that clock, waiting to get out of there, waiting to get the gold watch and pass on. Yeah, and it's like find your passion where you're at. Yeah. And then to spend time pursuing the happiness thing, because you don't want to be 65 and go, okay, now what am I going to do? You should be building a ramp like, this is what I can't wait to do. I'm working in this thing, tolerating it, whatever, even if you love your job, but I'm not going to do this forever. Like, I love podcasting. I don't know that I'll do it forever. I want to gather stories and tell them, but it doesn't have to be in this form. Maybe I do something else, and it's probably something beyond this. Yeah, that I'll end up doing. So you never know. That's the exciting part of it, the unknown. Yeah, right? Yeah. Progress is happiness. First off, I love coming to Old Town. It's great. It is cool, and I love it. You can probably hear the music in the background, right? I hope so. Yeah. I mean, it's great, and it's just neat to be able to share these stories, man. Because guys like us, we've seen a lot of hard things, but we can always, if we can withstand the things that we've seen, then folks out there in listening land, whatever country they're in, there's something one more thing you can do today to make yourself improve, or to help someone, or work on that project that you've been putting off. Yeah, that's fair, right? Well, I'd say the one thing I really think will change people's lives is that practicing gratitude. When you first become conscious in the morning, when you wake up, all right, time yourself. Yeah, that's the challenge. How long does it take you to just thank God or thank whatever, be grateful to be alive?
Yeah.
Sometimes it might take 30 minutes. Sometimes it might take all day. But once you get good at it, within a moment of being conscious, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
And that sets my mindset for that day.
Mindfulness is such a big thing. It saved my life, for sure.
Dude, it's huge.
Yeah.
Simple, hard to do because people
Yeah.
lip service it, but you're like, do it. Just give it a shot.
I often micro, I do like micro mindfulness or a micro meditation. Even at a red light, I'll take a deep breath, and I try to just lift myself out of the moment that I'm in. If I'm struggling, and even if I'm not, I try to do it several times a day. Just a micro meditation, and I swear it helps.
It does.
You know,
It absolutely does.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Right on, brother. Hoo-yah.